Hi, everybody. It's Julia, your trusted travel expert, helping you find that je ne sais quoi wherever you are in the world. But I know as of recently, and due to coronavirus, we've of course all been staying at home. Now that things are starting to open up, slowly but surely, hopefully, and hopefully very carefully, um, I know a lot of people are starting to think about traveling. And I know I myself took a little quick road trip this weekend, sort of to test the waters and see how things are out there in the great big wild world. And I wanted to share with you a few things you should keep in mind to help mitigate your risks when you leave your house. Now, of course, I'm big, huge caveat before I really get started is I am not a doctor. I am not an epidemiologist. These are my learnings based on reading other science, articles from scientists. Aaron Bromage is a great resource. I've posted some things, and I know one of his articles really went viral. But so I'm basing these sort of lessons that I've learned on from all these different sources. Including the CDC, including also friends or people I follow who have traveled recently and have shared some real world experience. So, of course, no travel is really going to be possible, whether domestic or international, if we don't keep this virus under control. And so, the first thing you should do anytime you leave your house, whether you're going to the grocery store or whether you're taking a trip, is to follow the three W's, right? And that's wear a mask that covers your nose and your mouth. Wear a mask. I just forgot the middle three. Wash your hands or sanitize them often. And then the third one is wait 6 feet apart. And I like the wait. I like that that's the third W because that'll come in. That becomes important later when I start talking about how you either contract or transmit this disease. So with that, how you transmit it, there are two different ways, right? The first way I'm going to talk about because I think it's way less of a risk, and that's from touching things. Now, to contract it, you have to touch something, a surface or a hard surface that there's enough viral particle on, and then wherever you touched with your hand, it has to get into your eyes, nose, or mouth. So I don't know about you. I mean, yes, we touch our faces and we need to stop touching our faces. That's part of the reason why masks are so helpful. But, there's not a lot of us that are going to be like smearing our hands all over public multi-touched surfaces and then sticking our hands in our mouths. I mean, kids, I can see little kids that being an issue with. But as long as you just like don't touch a lot of things or, maybe use your shirt, like, to punch an elevator button or use your elbow to open a door or again use your shirt to pull a door towards you. I don't think touch is as big of a risk of either contracting or transmitting the disease as maybe we thought in the beginning. The other thing with that is gloves. I know gloves are pretty popular, but I have always had an issue with gloves, like even way back in school days when I worked in food service, because you kind of forget, like unless you're using the glove to just touch the potentially contaminated thing, like the tray at TSA or the door or something like that, and then take the glove off before you touch any of your things, then it doesn't work because the contamination still gets everywhere. So I know, and this is the other thing, I'm not a very big germaphobe. And I know some people, if you're a big germaphobe, go with it. Get the gloves, rubber gloves. There's a really cool company on Kickstarter that I will share. It's Eco Gloves, and they're like little individual sealed packets of a set of plastic gloves that you can just use once and then toss. And they aren't latex, so I think they're biodegradable and stuff. So that could be a really good option if you're very into gloves and want to make sure you don't touch anything. So that's the other thing. But the main way that you both transmit and contract the disease, because this is the thing with the coronavirus that's insidious, is that you can not know that you have it and transmit it, right? Like that's why it spreads so fast. You have to breathe in or have enough droplets from someone else's mouth into your body, so into your mouth or into your eyes or nose. right? So that requires both proximity to the person and an extended amount of time. If you just jog by somebody or walk by somebody and they happen to get within your 6 foot bubble, and even if they sneeze on you, that's probably not enough. What you have to have enough time in a small space or face to face with someone who's infected to get infected. That's another reason why masks are so great, because if you don't know that you have it and you're talking to someone, your water droplets will get stopped by the mask, and your mask may or may not stop, it'll stop some of their droplets from getting to you. So that's another reason why masks are so important. The other big thing that I have sort of realized is enclosed spaces. Indoors is kind of a bad idea right now, at least until we get a vaccine or until we get better testing and people are more aware of when they have it. Any extended amount of time in an enclosed space is kind of a very high risk thing. I mean, the sort of case studies that I've seen is like the choir practice, where not only were a group of people in a small space, standing right next to each other in multiple rows. They're in a small space, they're in an enclosed space, and they're singing, which emits a lot of droplets. Like speaking or quietly, that doesn't emit very many droplets, but singing or shouting, for sports or something like that, that's a recipe for getting and transmitting the disease. But so what does that mean is for travel is that outdoor spaces, getting into the great outdoors is a really great way to still be able to, travel, be able to enjoy yourself and do fun things. So anything that's outdoor that, really that's kind of the way to go. There is one caveat to this, and that is surprising to me, but I wanted to share it, and that is airplanes. Airplanes apparently, and I have seen this backed up again by scientists, not just the airline industry, but airplanes have such sophisticated air filtration systems that apparently the air that's being circulated is really for every like kind of 2 to 3 or 4 rows. And so like if someone in your sort of 3 or 4 row bubble or of your air filtration, that's as far as the any droplets may be able to spread, so it's not like a person coughs in the first row and the last row is going to get it. It doesn't work that way. It apparently, and it recycles air I don't remember the stats, but very, very often every hour. So you're actually breathing fresh air from the outside more than you think. The other thing, like the little nozzle when you turn on the air in an airplane, that's fresh air. That's not recycled air filled with everybody else's germs. That's your air, or that's fresh air. And the air filtration system that they use is like higher than hospital grade HEPA filters. So those filters are filtering out anything bad. And so generally the air you breathe on an airplane is actually not that risky. Of course, everything surrounding air travel, and if you're sitting next to somebody for 6 hours, that is still a high risk, activity, and, going through TSA and everything like that. Those are still times where you may be in close contact with other people. And so that's why you're going to have to wear a mask on an airplane, probably from now on. Who knows? At least until we have a vaccine. And I think gloves are also pretty recommended on airplanes. So keep that in mind for flights. So what did I learn on my little road trip? I stayed outdoors for the most part. There was one waterfall that we went to visit that was like so right off the highway that everybody was there, and it was really crowded, and so there was a bunch of people standing around. So we wore our masks even though we were outside, because again, the wait. If you're waiting to take a photo of something, you might be standing around a lot of people, and you don't know if they are asymptomatic or if they've had it or not, and nobody knows if you've had it or not. So that's why the mask came in handy. Since we were on a road trip, bathroom breaks became pretty important and pretty crucial. And knowing that there are clean restrooms on your route is really important, right? And so even though public restrooms get cleaned a whole lot and they apparently aren't that risky of a thing, I know, like, just me personally, it's not the most pleasant usually, for like a restroom, like a public restroom. So try and find like a fast food place that you know that they're going to be cleaning it pretty regularly, rather than like kind of one of those backdoor gas station things. Some of those gas stations that are very much like modern and clean and have a lot of travelers passing through, those bathrooms are probably cleaned quite a bit, so those might be better. The other thing is, if you're on a road trip, try and make sure that you either order takeout and eat outdoors. Go to places, make sure you do your research and go to restaurants that have patio seating, or or outdoor seating in some way, shape, or form. Bring wipes and or hand sanitizer. I found that the few times that we had to use the public restroom, obviously you wash your hands with soap and water real good, but then you still have to leave, and sometimes you are going to have to touch a few things on your way in and out of a place. So that's why the hand sanitizer is going to be good. Wipes, obviously, like on an airplane or in a rental car, anytime that you're maybe in a hotel room and you don't even trust them, although hotels have very stringent cleaning processes that they're implementing. So I wouldn't worry too much about it there, but it's something you could do. And just, bottom line, wear a mask. Follow the 3 Ws. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and wait 6 feet apart from people. And if you do those things and you stay out of enclosed areas for an extended amount of time, small enclosed areas for an extended amount of time, hopefully you should be pretty good to go. And I have been seeing so many different, resorts opening up and, private homes opening up. Although, with a private home, if it's not managed, you got to be careful about their cleaning procedures and how good they are and how stringent they are. And also, how recently they had guests there. There's just a little bit more risk involved in some ways in going to a private home that's not well managed. So you might want to do your research there. But if you follow all those precautions and we all follow the 3 Ws, we should be able to start getting out there on the road, which is a very good thing, right? So if you have any questions, let me know. I know I just gave you a lot of information. And of course, everything is changing the more we learn. So send them my way, Julia at traveljuliasway.com. And I will see you next week. Bye.